I'm Mel Coffey. I'm a professor in journalism in the College of Communication and Information. And this evening's debate is 1 hour. It's a very structured debate, and I want to talk to you about how the format will go and a couple of other things. We will be streaming it live. We're getting that set up right now. There's an overflow room where people will be watching it. So, as the candidates are speaking, we ask that you give them their time. You know, show a little bit of respect. I know that you guys are all interested in this, which is why you're here. But if you can refrain from applauding until after the end of the debate, that will give them an opportunity to make sure that they get to say what they want you to hear about their platforms. And we ask also that you refrain from talking during their speeches or during their answers to questions, because it'll just make it even more difficult for those who are listening to the live stream to hear it. You know who they are. We have 3 teams of candidates running for president and vice president. They are Riley and Tucker, Ross and Sydney, and Michael and Noor. And here's how that's an okay time to applause, to applaud. But when they do start, we do ask you, because they'll stop, they'll get interrupted, and they won't have their allotted time. So here's how it will operate. There will be a welcome statement from each team. They'll get 3 minutes to give you their opening statements. And then there will be a series of questions. Each team will answer the same question. Each team will have 2 minutes to answer that question. They both will come to the podium here to answer the question. And after each question, or after each team responds to that question, there will be 1 minute for rebuttal from the other 2 teams if they choose to do so. You do not have to do so, but we are giving you 1 minute for rebuttal if you do choose to do so. We will have a series of questions that operate in that way. And then there will be a closing statement where each team will have another 3 minutes to make a closing statement to sum up what they want you to know about their campaigns. And then the final thing is, we have actually 53 minutes and 40 seconds right now, so that's not a lot of time. And I know that many of you will have other questions after this is over, but we are restricted to the time that we have for this room. And so after this debate is over, you will be able to find the candidates out in the hallway if you have other questions that you want to ask of them. All right. And we'll let them leave the room before we ask the first question so that you will be able to have everyone's attention. All right, thank you. Here we go. Our first question, and again, all 3 will answer the question, and the order that they are going is a randomly selected order, and then we will rotate in terms of who answers which question first. And so the first question, in your platform, you talk about initiating reform to create a safer environment for students. What initiatives do you have in mind to increase safety on campus and off campus, and how do you plan to implement these initiatives? And we'll start with Riley and Tucker.
I guess we'll just go ahead and kind of start with the opening statement, and then we'll kind of go into the question.
Thank you, sorry.
No worries, no worries. We can run on the fly here. But first off, I just want to start by saying thank you to everyone that's put together this event. This is one of the signatures of the election season, I do believe. And it's great to see a wonderful crowd here. My name is Riley Grant. I'm from Columbia, Kentucky. I am studying finance and accounting here at the University of Kentucky. I'm currently a junior.
And my name is Tucker Lovett. I'm studying finance and agricultural economics here at the University of Kentucky. I'm actually from Marshall County, Kentucky. So the foundation of our platform is based on the idea that this is our home. The University of Kentucky is a place that Riley and I have looked to go to since we were young kids. My family, Kentucky basketball is a huge thing. And that was my calling. I knew I wanted to go to the University of Kentucky. And so when I got here, I realized that this is my home. This is the place for me. And so Riley and I, we want to promote an environment that cultivates success and promotes the good in all people. And that's our goal throughout this campaign, and if elected, that's what we want to see as we go forward.
Absolutely, and we used a lot of this ideology, this idea of home. When we looked at building our platform, we looked at ideas, issues that we wanted to tackle. We think a lot of this starts with increasing safety both on and off campus. We want to be able to advocate for the student voice, both within the student government, the administration, state, local governments. We also think that our platform promotes financial responsibility both within SGA and across campus in different organizations.
We will make this all possible through renewed progress, through necessary reform, and through trusted leadership. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I look forward to answering questions from all aspects. And again, thank you guys for coming out. I'm so happy to be here.
Same. Can you give us that first question one more time?
We'll just get the, I
Okay,
spoke
we'll
out of
just-
turn. That was my mistake there, but we'll
Hey.
hear all the opening statements first, and then we'll come to the first
Good deal.
question. All right, thank you. Okay, let's go to Michael and Noor next. Your opening statements, and you have 3 minutes.
All right, well, hey, y'all. Thanks for being here, investing in this election process. My name is Michael Hamilton, and I'm going to be running to be your student body president. I'm from Johnson County, Kentucky, and I am a political science and international studies double major here at UK.
And my name is Noor Ali. I'm from Pike County, Kentucky. You can't really tell my accent, but I promise I'm from there. And I have a health society and populations major, and I'm running to be your student body vice president. Throughout our years of service in student government, Michael, our team, and I have been blessed to meet many new people that show us what it truly means to be a Wildcat. Throughout this journey, we have learned of different student perspectives, and this insight has allowed us to tailor our platform to meet the needs of our entire campus community.
So our platform, the undercurrent of our entire purpose for running is to ensure that every student here, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, orientation of any kind, knows that this is where they belong, and they have a family here in the Big Blue Nation. So with that being the undercurrent and the overall, motivation behind our platform, we crafted it around the 4 pillars of success laid out by the Provost's office over these past couple of years. So obviously that first pillar of belonging and engagement is really the foundation of what we build our campaign on. And then we tailored other policies and initiatives around academic success, student health and wellness, and financial stability. And I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk about our initiatives in depth. But we crafted our platform statement based on that university administration policy because, we're going to have a partnership with the university, hopefully, and working with them will require thinking like them. So if we can tailor our university UK SGA initiatives to what the university's goal and plan is for UK, it'll foster an amazing partnership that hopefully we'll be able to deliver so much to students with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then our third team, Ross and Sydney, your opening statements. You'll have 3 minutes.
Sweet. Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you, Mel, for spending your night. I know you could be doing a lot more fun things than moderating our debate. But we're really excited you're here because this is one of the big years of student government where we have an amazing choice to make this year. But we're running off of 2 simple things. It's student wellness and student success. Student wellness means more than just that common cold that's been going around on campus that some of us have fallen victim to. But student wellness meaning everybody feels safe, everybody and is physically well in that way. People are emotionally and mentally well, and people are financially well.
So our platform also runs off of student success. That includes success here while we're at the University of Kentucky, while also including success outside of the university. We often get caught up in the 4 years that we spend here at the University of Kentucky and kind of forget that there is something that comes after. So preparing our students, making sure that we are all ready to go out into the workforce and be productive people. By the way, my name is Sydney Otten, and I am running for student vice president. And I'm from Chicago, Illinois, most specifically Naperville. And I came from a very small school upbringing So coming to the University of Kentucky was a huge step for me. And being able to, with all the people in this audience, I've been able to create relationships that have really made UK a smaller place and really brought that family aspect to my life. So I've been very honored, and I'm honored to speak to y'all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and our first question, and we will go in this order. First up will be Riley and Tucker answering this first question. And again, that question is, in your platform, you talk about initiating reform to create a safer environment for students. What initiatives do you have in mind to increase safety on and off campus, and how do you plan to implement these initiatives? You'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Hopefully we can kind of get through it this time. But I think it's important. It's a large part of our platform is this idea of increasing safety both on and off campus. One of the hallmarks of what we've looked at is opening the dialogue on the alcohol policy. I know it's a touchy, hot topic subject, but when you look at it right now, I don't think what we have is a safe, sustainable way of pushing students off campus on the weekends, and then kind of turning a blind eye to this. And we've came up with a couple different ideas that we think will help remedy this. But until that point, Tucker can touch on that a little.
So what we want to do is we want to really promote the programs that SGA already has. One of those being the Wildcat services. We want to expand that, but really we want to rebrand that entire component of SGA. A lot of students don't even know that this exists, and they don't know that the services that it offers. Another service that we want to really promote is the student legal services that SGA has. And really when we talk about safety, we don't want to end it there. We also want to look at the different lighting issues that we have around campus. When you look at the Kerwin and Blanding towers at night, you have freshman students walking to and from K-Lot, and they have to go through those areas. It can be a scary thing. I have a little sister that's a freshman. And when she's looking at coming to Kentucky, I look at these things and I think, is this a place where she can be truly safe? Are we doing everything that we can to ensure her safety? And that's what I want to look at for the entire student body. I want to put that perspective on that. So that's our plan with safety, and we look forward to keeping that dialogue open to any safety issues that are on campus that you all see.
All right, thank you. The same question now for candidates Ross and Sydney. Same question.
So campus safety is one of the things that's built into our student wellness and student success aspect. People cannot be successful unless they're safe on campus. That's just how it is. That's also meaning on and near campus. As they were just saying, many things are pushed over to the periphery of campus through the weekends and even just in the evening when we go home. We have to make sure that people are taken care of and our university family is taken care of, whether it's at 3:15 in the morning or 3:15 at night. We want to make sure that we expand Wildcat, that we are able to serve people and work with parking and transportation. When I've been on the parking and transportation fee allocation committee and the parking and transportation advisory committee, we've seen how successful the Wildcat program has been. Also the Blue Pass program, where you can take a Lextran bus anywhere in Lexington, and we have been able to get over 1 million rides just with the UK students and the UK faculty and staff.
Safety is probably the most important thing that we've been able to talk about and address during our time of this campaign. Like he said, you are a student at the University of Kentucky at 3:15 in the morning and at 3:15 when you're getting out of class. So being able to make sure that every student feels secure, feels safe, no matter what situation that they are put in, is very, very important.
Yep, we are the only campaign that has been able to meet with UKPD and do a ride-along to see what their needs are, to see what that officer is thinking about. He's saying, I'm scared sometimes when I go home, and how can SGA work with them to make sure that they can serve us and that we can be successful as students?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before there are any rebuttals, which I should have allowed after the first response, let's hear from the third set of candidates with your answer to that same question, and then we will revisit rebuttals for the three responses that we have heard. Okay, so the same question for Michael and Noor.
So, safety is obviously a major concern here at UK. When you're a student, you shouldn't have to worry about how you're going to get to and from class in a safe way. And that obviously folds into every single one of the pillars laid forth by the University of Kentucky. If you don't feel safe, you're not going to do well in class, you're not going to be healthy. So it's a huge center point for our campaign. We have a few ideas. Obviously, the Wildcat service we have right now is amazing. But how much better could it be if we expand the service to run for later night classes through the week? You know, students who are walking home from North Campus late at night shouldn't have to walk in the dark. Call a Wildcat, be picked up. Don't do it the dangerous way. In addition, I know Riley touched on the alcohol policy here at UK. No one wants to endorse, underage drinking by any means. And a few of the other institutions across the country have implemented drinking policies, Duke specifically, where if someone in the organization or whatever the group is a university certified bartender, or they have some course where they can control portions and sizes for alcohol consumption, they can serve alcohol at events, not parties. But if you have an on-campus event and you have alumni there, and then they want to have a drink, that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, so safety is really important, and when I think of safety, I think of feeling welcome. I had the opportunity to be in a meeting with Bill Swinford, who's Capito's Chief of Staff, and he asked me, he's like, what can we do about safety? And I told him, I was like, kids are about to have late night exams. Let's have some people in the police. Let's have, I know the ROTC does a wonderful job with having drivers and stuff. So using that and utilizing that. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Before we move to our next question, let's give the candidates an opportunity to rebut the responses that they heard from any of the other candidates. So in any order, let's start with Riley and Tucker, who went first. Anyone wants to rebut what this team said? Okay? Okay, you'll have 1 minute.
To Riley and Tucker's point about alcohol on campus, that's something that we've done a lot of research on, and that we believe is something that should be put as a priority to investigate. But right now is not the time. Our campus also is not built for having alcoholic events. We also just made it a little bit more flexible where organizations can have alcohol on campus. You can have alcohol at the bowl for athletic events to build community. One of our big things is being able to build community on campus and make sure that everybody is able to get to know each other. We're going to be talking about a grand council of how everybody's organizations can start working together about that a little bit later in the debate.
Thank you.
Michael and Noor, would you like to rebut?
Yeah, I just wanted to include a quick follow-up. Riley mentioned utilizing our legal services that SGA provides. And student government has recently entered a partnership with the UK Law's Legal Clinic. So Nora and I love that idea, and we want to see that expanded upon in the coming year. Before, we always worked with one specific attorney, and he was great. But there are so many students, and to have only one attorney service all of them is difficult. So with this new partnership, it'll be so much better and so much easier for students to seek legal advice and legal assistance from these law students who know way more than the average student.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. We need now
our students are taken care of in all aspects and really round the conversation. First of all, emotional wellness. College is a tough place. School can be hard. So we really want to offer resources like changing how you interact with your counselor, making sure that you feel taken care of, making sure that your class schedule is okay. We also want to touch on emotional wellness. I believe it is 41.6% of students suffer from anxiety due to school. We want to make that number decrease drastically by offering counseling services and giving them access to the mental health counseling center. We also want to touch on financial wellness, if you want to go ahead.
Yes, financial wellness is something where the student body, the student government president sits on the board of trustees. And we're going to promise you to not vote against a tuition raise, fee raise, a campus housing raise, or a campus housing, dining, raise. That is one of the things that goes back to wellness. But also, we were able to get the pleasure to talk to somebody, a veteran from the Veterans Resource Center. And he was talking about how there are 800 veterans on campus and how there's many of them that aren't able to get the resources from the VRC about getting the help from a post-traumatic stress disorder for their service. And that's something that we need to make sure that we're serving our non-traditional students.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The same question now for Michael and Noor. And can you also take the mic out of the stand and hold it so that the people who are listening on live stream can hear you, because we need to speak directly into the mic for them. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a little more difficult than it looks.
Just pull.
Okay. We're good. That worked better. So in terms of it's a lot louder. In terms of student wellness, Noor and I, when meeting with organizations and clubs across campus, the reoccurring theme and the most pertinent issue to almost all of these organizations was mental health care. So self-care and talking with people about your feelings and about what's going on in your life. And hearing that, UK offers amazing services for mental health and wellness and health care. The Counseling Center is a fantastic resource, but like it was mentioned earlier, a lot of students don't know about these services. So improving awareness about the Counseling Center. And we also discussed, one of the main issues surrounding mental health and wellness at UK and nationally, globally, is the stigma against seeking treatment. So when we were discussing with our team, we think it would be an amazing idea to have a student ambassador program for the Counseling Center. So it's so much easier to seek a service and to see something as normal when you can put a face to the name. So if you see other people, you see other student leaders using these services, you're not going to feel like it's something abnormal. Everyone does it. It's totally normal to, and it's healthy to. Seek treatment, talk to somebody, because we're all students. We're all stressed. We all have anxiety. So just not trivializing these issues and making sure that all students know that there's a place and a service for treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest things, like Michael talked about, is the stigma against it. And when we went around and we were talking to organizations, they said a lot of people tell them, like as an e-board or as a executive branch, to go meet with a counselor and talk to them. Also, most colleges, if not all at UK, are required to meet with their advisor. And so if we can train advisors on how like signs of depression or anxiety or suicidal thoughts, I think that can go a really, really far way. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Riley and Tucker, same question.
I agree with Michael and Noor very much there. Is when it comes to wellness, when you look at the mental health awareness across campus and across our nation as a whole, it's an issue. And I think we've seen light brought to that over these past few weeks. And we agree, we have wonderful resources here at the University of Kentucky with the Counseling Center, the VIP Center, which also serves a variety of victims of violence. And what we really want to do is to be able to empower those victims. We want to raise awareness Tucker will speak on that a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think every single person's goal, is to be able to normalize treatment for these issues, whether it's sexual assault, whether it's mental health. A victim should never feel like they cannot seek help or that they should not be able to talk to somebody about what's going on in their life. And we want to make sure that we can utilize SGA's resources in every way possible to make that happen here at UK.
Just as they said, UK does have so many wonderful opportunities for people that need help and that are seeking help. And it really goes back to the point of we want to promote that. We want to rebrand that. We want people to know that these things are out there. This help is out there. One of the things that we would like to do is we want to start, we want to create a mental health week. And what we want to do that week is we want student government to host events. We want to have things where we bring people together, where we promote inclusivity, and we really promote the things that the University of Kentucky offers, and so that people know that they're not alone, that everybody struggles from this, and nobody knows what someone else struggles from. And we want everybody to feel open, to feel like they can come have that conversation, and to seek help. It's my high school of Marshall County. We just experienced a school shooting not too long ago, 3 weeks ago, and that's an issue. That's not something that we look for to happen here at Kentucky, but that can be prohibited by investing in mental health. We have to do it. We have no choice, and we will do everything that we can to do that.
All right, thank you, candidates. We are going to skip the rebuttal for this round and move directly to question number 3. And the first team answering question number 3 will be Michael and Noor. And that question is, in your platform, you talk about diversity and inclusion. Could you elaborate on how you plan to address these issues and what initiatives you plan to implement to improve diversity and inclusion? You'll have 2 minutes.
So as we said earlier, increasing that sense of belonging for all of campus has been the foundation of our campaign. And with talking with our team and other organizations on campus, we have a few ideas that we think can really make that a reality here at UK. And the first thing being access to funding for multicultural events. So right now, Senate offers up to $1,500 in Senate funding for multicultural events across campus. But we'd love to increase that number. Students and organizations who want to share their culture and share something special about themselves to a larger audience, to spread awareness and to make sure that people know that there are other people that go to this university and that call this place home. They shouldn't have to worry about funding to put on an event that beneficial to this campus community. So we talked, and we'd like to see that number raised, $2,000, $2,500. A Senate special project is $2,500. You have to have a senator to sponsor you. So, if they need this money, let them use it. Events like this that spread awareness and that spread love for everyone here at UK are paramount to success as a university and as an institution. And also, the Student Coalition for Diversity and Inclusion has been a staple piece of UK SGA. But we would love to see one day where, SGA is so integrated that SCDI is just a facet and that we are multicultural throughout all of our departments and all of our directors here in student government, Senate, exec, so that, you don't just have to be on SCDI. You can be a coordinator or a director. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of talk about our campaign materials a little bit. When you look at the population that votes, we go to a school with maybe like more than 30,000 kids, and only 4,000 people vote. So when Michael and I were creating our posters, we wanted to directly impact everyone. And on our posters, it says, "You belong here," in multiple languages. And it's true, because you do belong here. Whether you're 2 kids from Eastern Kentucky or you're someone from an international country, you belong here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rebuttals? None? Okay, that's fine, sorry. So actually, the next people up are Riley and Tucker. I apologize. You're next, 2 minutes.
Here we go. I think one of the big things when we look at this idea of diversity and inclusion, especially with SGA, I think a lot of this starts, as to their point, is making sure that SGA is representative of the student body. I think traditionally there is a stigma with SGA that it is not, that it is representative of a single type of person. And I think we've made great strides in these past few years with our election reform. And I think you can see that tonight, having the most candidates that I think that have run for this office or these offices in years. And hopefully that will continue to show up in Senate. And I know we, along with the other candidates, I'm sure will be, we're dedicated to making sure our cabinet and our executive team is representative of our campus. And I think that's a huge part of what we want to do. And I think that's where we really need to start when you're looking at SGA. And then when you go further, utilizing what we've already created. They talked about the Coalition for Diversity and Inclusion. I think that's a wonderful program, but, you need to be able to use that and, take that beyond what it is now. What we want to do is be able to expand that and to create more opportunities for everybody across campus and look at unique ways and to really, Tucker and I both know we're pretty similar people, and that's why we need to be able to trust others and to have voices that we can trust so that they know what's best for them and then build programs from that.
Thank you. Ross and Sydney, you have 2 minutes to answer that question. Same question.
Thank you, Riley. We believe that diversity and inclusion is a very, very important thing. Adil has done an amazing job with her position this year. That's something that we want to make sure that if we get the pleasure of being elected, we want to make sure that we're able to have somebody that can fill shoes just as that big. We believe that this is a priority, that diversity is not just a racial thing, is not just something about LGBTQ, but is something that is greater than that. Diversity and inclusion, not just one or the other. We want to also make sure that this involves diversity in how representative SGA is of making sure you can represent the College of Design, one of the small colleges, as well as the College of Agriculture, something that's over across from us that a lot of people don't get the chance to walk to. We also want to make sure that our student organizations are able to be represented.
Yeah. So we just definitely want to make sure that we are representing every single different group, whether that's a Greek organization, whether that's Pause for Ability, whether that's CSF or any other religious organization, being able to represent them and include them in the UK community, even if they are not technically on this campus. Just, again, diversity and inclusion. We definitely want to put those two together so that everybody feels part of the family here at UK.
All right, thank you. We're skipping the rebuttal here, moving on directly to question number 4. And question number 4 is for the president candidates only, and we will start with Riley on question number 4, and that is, as a voting member of the Board of Trustees, how will you utilize this role to best serve as a voice for the student body? You'll have 2 minutes.
This is one of the really unique parts of being the student body president here at the University of Kentucky is this role of being able to serve on the Board of Trustees. It's something that not a lot of other places have, and it's something unique. And, I think the biggest thing when it comes to this role is listening to students beforehand and be able to take ideas that they give you and formulate questions that you can ask to the board. It's a great responsibility that you have as the only student on the board to make sure that you are representing the student body because you are there. You are the closest to the students. A lot of these other people that are trustees, they're not here on a daily basis. They're not walking from class to class. They're not communicating with students every day. And they probably don't have an idea for what the feel of campus is and kind of what the issues that we face on a daily basis are. So I view what my potential role on the Board of Trustees would be is simply one that I can take what is given from the students and then be able to formulate that and hopefully be able to help the Board of Trustees to form policy and to make decisions that are based off of what the students actually need at this point in time.
Okay, thank you. Ross, same question for you.
Yes, as they were saying, we have an amazing thing where we get to talk to the Board of Trustees. We get to really get to know them and be there as a voting member. That's something that we need to take advantage of with student government. We're going to promise that when it comes around, We will not vote to raise tuition, housing, dining, or fees. That's something that when I was at the Board of Trustees meeting on December, one of the only students, it was me, Ben, and one of the Colonel journalists there, I got to see how some of those decisions were made. But I know that there's so much more than just what's said at that Board of Trustees meeting. There's so many meetings that go into that. And I think that also comes down to building a rapport with the administration, a student body president, that it's not just when they have office hours in Blazer, but they can be somebody that represents the person that's walking by next to them on the way to class, somebody that they can meet with the administration and really get to know them. That was something, me and one of the administration people went out to lunch one day just to talk about what some of the issues are and how student government could do that and what things are feasible. We don't want to run a campaign off of something that's lofty, something we can't get done in 1 year. We wanted to make sure that we are able to tackle issues that we can do when we're in office. That's something that we didn't want to promise you all something that we couldn't deliver. And we're going to promise that anything you come to us with, we are going to be able to take that to the Board of Trustees. The Board of Trustees have a T-Pass. They can park just about anywhere. They don't know the parking struggles that we're going through right now. So we want to also make sure that we're able to take care of that. But we're going to represent you all. We're going to represent every single one of the 29,000 students that go to UK.
All right, thank you. Michael, same question.
So as a member of the Board of Trustees, I think that the most crucial aspect of this is building genuine relationships, not only with the board members, but also students on campus, and especially students outside of your normal circle. So students who don't look like you, who don't believe what you believe, people who have come from different places and different backgrounds. When we've been campaigning, a lot of the complaints from organizations, especially like minority organizations on campus, is that they hear a lot from student government when it's campaign time, but then after that, there aren't many more visits. So when I make a decision on the Board of Trustees, I want it to come from a place that represents every single student here at UK. And to do that, I want to keep up those relationships, keep up those talks with every organization here at UK. We've talked about establishing a President's Council. So inviting every president, of every organization here at UK once a week or once a semester to a little retreat, a summit, just to survey the room. What's going on? What do we need to talk about? What do we need to relay to the board? And also just in general, everyone always asks about tuition hikes or an increase in dining and meals. I think it's safe to say that no student wants me to vote to increase tuition. And knowing that, I can confidently tell you that there will never be a time when I vote against the interest and the best wishes of the student body. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We do have time for rebuttals.
I'm leaving it off.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so kind of to their points as well, I do want to make it clear that I would also vote no for tuition or price raises of any kind. I do think that, it's important with your role in the Board of Trustees to do what the students want. And you need to be able to look at that in every single decision that you make. And I never think that would be in the interest of the students. But, when you look at other decisions, I completely agree at building those relationships with those board members, because likely when you look at these issues, a lot of what we want to do is short-term, but there are also long-term goals. That's just the reality of it, and those Board of Trustee members are likely going to be a part of those long-term goals. So building those relationships and being able to, convince them of your ideas, convince them what the student body wants, so hopefully that you can affect change, even if it's not now, but in the future, for students to come here at UK. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, sir. Yes, so we were alluding to it before, but we want to create a grand council of all the community organizations and campus stakeholders. We believe that it's more than just the campus organizations. There are people that go to the Newman Center, the BCM, the Jewish Center, every faith that is in and around campus needs to have somebody there. There's so many off-campus organizations that play such a big impact on how student life is. And we believe that it's more than just a once a semester formality, that it's something that we can meet monthly and the SGA can support to have somebody and make sure that everybody can have a voice and that everybody that's a part of an organization knows that they have an ambassador for their voice. Somewhere that we can have all these organizations together. And of course, that first time is going to be just so exciting because everybody's going to be there and there's nothing like this that's happened before. So we're excited that that's been one of our core ideas of our campaign.
All right, thank you, Ross. This next question is for, go ahead, sorry.
I just have a couple things. Ross mentioned earlier that it's important to, know and to build good relationships with other administrators other than the Board of Trustees. And as the current Senate President for Student Government, I've had the opportunity to meet several administrators across campus, and we have had amazing discussions about campus issues. Nora alluded to it earlier as well. Excuse me. Bill Swinford and Eric Monday established a council. It changes a little bit every now and then, but just to talk about campus culture and campus climate. And it's been great to get to know those guys. But also on the converse of something else that Ross said, he mentioned, including community members on this grand council. But I'd like to say that it's not our job to advocate for anyone but students. I shouldn't be voting on the Board of Trustees based on, someone who doesn't go to school here, their opinion. I only want to hear the perspectives when it comes to voting from students and not from someone who doesn't even go to college here.
All right, thank you, Michael. Question number 5 is for the Vice President candidates only. We'll start with Sydney. The question is, how would you define the role of the SGA Vice President, and what is one thing you would like to accomplish as the Vice President? 2 minutes.
All right. So, I'm sorry, do you mind repeating the question one more time?
Sure.
Thank you.
How would you define the role of the SGA Vice President, and what is one thing you would like to accomplish as the Vice President?
As the SGA Vice President, I believe that my job would be to advocate and to stand up and work with all the other individuals that are part of student government. I think that's a really important point, is that I am there to advocate for the students alongside, which would be alongside Ross if we had the honor, but to also be able to open the conversation with other people and not just work directly with Ross, but with other individuals. One thing that I would love to do goes back to our 2 points, goes back to wellness, goes back to student success, making sure that every single student is safe, emotionally safe, having to do with mental health, financially safe, and making sure that they are successful. When they leave this college, they feel prepared, they feel ready, and that they're ready to go into the real world. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Same question for Noor.
So I'm really excited to answer this question because I get to talk to you guys about the best thing that's happened to me ever since I've been at UK. So as a vice president, you get to lead the leadership development program. And if you know me, you know, like, my name is Nora Lee and I love LDP. That's all you need to know. And so being on that last year, I got to work alongside Ben Childress, and I was an LDP coordinator. And I met 40 wonderful students, freshmen, and I think I really helped them and they helped me grow. Also, I would be on the alumni board, so working along the alumni, hearing their opinions, and also hearing what the students have to say. LDP is an amazing program. Elizabeth this year has done a wonderful job. But when you have a wonderful program, it should always grow because everything changes. And with that, we just recently, I'm on the O&E Operations and Evaluations Committee, and we just changed how many students we're going to allow to be in LDP. So we currently have it at 40, but why not raise it to 60? So more students can be impacted with such an amazing program like this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Noor. Next up is Tucker.
So I think she said so many great things. Why don't we expand LDP? Why don't we use our voice to represent the students with the Alumni Council? And that's all things that we want to do. But also, it's my job and it's my goal to work alongside Riley to make sure that he knows that all of the student needs that I see are heard. Riley and we do different things all the time. I'm going to meet different people. I'm going to know different people than him. And I want to make sure that their needs are met. And by doing that, I want to work alongside Riley. I want to work alongside all the other members of the Student Government Association to ensure that your voice is being heard, that you know that this is your home too, and that we want to promote this idea of this is our home. We want everyone to be safe. We want everyone to feel like that their voice is being used when it comes to the Board of Trustees. And I think I can do that with Riley, and I think we can work together to promote inclusivity. We can work together to create this mental health week. And that's probably the biggest thing as vice president that I would like to see done is seeing this mental health week come to fruition. It's something that I believe in, something that I believe has to be done, and something that I stand behind 100%.
All right, thank you. We do have time for rebuttals. Anyone wants to rebut? And if so, we will start with Sydney.
So as Nor touched on, and so did Tucker, LEP is a huge role of being the vice president here at the University of Kentucky, but I think one thing that definitely needs to happen is to revise it a little bit, to change it up a little bit, bringing it back to that Grand Council, representing the students that are in this organization, in these organizations, including them, making them feel welcome. I believe that being able to make this a smaller campus, make it a more family-oriented campus from 30,000, make it feel like you are back at home. I believe that's a huge part, and I want to work in order to make these small revisions and reforms, make things that are attainable, set attainable goals.
Thank you, Sydney. Noor?
So one thing that the administrators are already doing is they have created this first year experience board, and Michael's actually on the committee for that right now. And essentially what this is they're revamping everything that has to do with the freshman year experience. We have a lot of students that come here. Michael and I know this firsthand because we have so many friends that come from Eastern Kentucky and they don't stay here because they don't feel welcome here. So when they come here, we want them to stay here. You know, that can happen by changing up UK 101. You know, my advisor told me to not even take it. And, you know, that really shouldn't happen because UK 101 needs to be a class about how to be a wildcat, you know, exposing them to where the counseling center is, making sure that they know where everything is on campus, taking them out to like a coffee shop in Lexington, get them connected with the city. Because when the campus and the city come together, amazing things can happen. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tucker?
One other thing that we would like to see done here is we really want to look at the student government budget, and we really want to look at it in depth. We want to look at it with the Director of Finance, and we want to make sure that we're utilizing the money that we have and the money that's available to us to use. We want to make sure that we're utilizing that to serve the students' interests. So oftentimes the student government, at the end of the semester, you know, there's money left in that budget, and that's a problem. And we want to look at our budget in depth, and we want to reallocate things. We want to restructure that budget so that we have a budget that is best serves our students in every way possible.
Thank you. As we wind down our time here, we do want to go immediately to closing statements from all three teams. We will start with Riley and Tucker. And as you do make your closing statements, one thing that students might ask you to reflect on is, how are you different from your opponent, and why should students vote for you? If you can also reflect on that as a part of your closing statement. Thank you. You'll have 3 minutes.
Awesome. Well, first off, I just want to thank you guys so much for being here tonight, for taking part in this debate. I think we could all stay in here for hours and probably go on and on at the different issues that we have that we want to face in this coming year. But, you know, one of the things that I wanted to reflect on briefly was just, you know, the reason behind my ambition for wanting to pursue this office. You know, the University of Kentucky has given us all so much. It's given us the friends that we have, the education that we're earning. And, you know, I've always wanted to give back in some way, and I feel like this is a way that I can give back to the most students and hopefully be able to create a lot of good and be able to create that home that Tucker has talked about so much. And, you know, we would love to have your support going forward with that so that we can go on this journey and hopefully achieve a lot of good over this coming year.
Yeah, like Riley said, you know, this is our home. This is what we have. This is what's given to us. And we want to do everything in our power to promote the good in every single person and every single community on campus and every single organization on campus. We want to promote the good within those. Riley and I will work endlessly to make sure that that's done, whether that's with the fiscal budget, whether that's with student safety. In all things, we want to promote the good in all people here on campus. We want to make sure that your voice is heard. We want to be here for you. We want to be your servant. We want to be open to you.
And, kind of speak, just briefly on what makes us different. Going throughout this campaign, I've tried to not make a lot of guarantees because, we don't know the future. I think, as you probably know, there is one guarantee, that is we will vote no to raising the prices on anything on the Board of Trustees. But, the other guarantee that I make to people is that Tucker and myself, we will work as hard as we possibly can to represent the student body and to do everything in the power of our position to reach out to administrators and to try to make change here on campus. And with that, we would love to have your support this coming Wednesday. If you have any questions, feel free to come talk to me. I'll talk to you all day long. So with that, thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Next up are Ross and Sydney. Your closing statements, and again, if you might reflect on how you're different from your opponents and why students should vote for you.
All right, so first of all, I, again, just want to say thank you all for coming out, the support, for coming to watch. First of all, why run? Why run for the president and vice president of the University of Kentucky? First of all, we believe that we really do have a fresh, new perspective on the issues that are plaguing our students at the University of Kentucky. Being able to give them someone with fresh eyes that can go in and look at these issues and say, okay, now what do the students really want, and what are some really attainable goals that we can accomplish if we were to be in office for this coming year. I believe that the small steps, the small things are what is going to really make an impact. We might not see it this certain year, but opening the conversation, making it available, and again, those small steps are going to be key in really making good and solid changes here at the University of Kentucky. So if you want.
Yeah. And the two simple points are just how they are. They're simple. They're things that the students want. And we also know that, as you're saying, the small steps are important. It's like moving the SGA emails over to a @ukY.edu email, something that's reputable, something that's not just an @Gmail, something that when people know they're emailing us, know that we're going to listen, and know that, heck, file an open records request and see what we're going to be talking about. So we want to make sure that we're representing our 2 points, and that's it all comes down to one thing, though. It's the students.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And your closing statements, Michael and Nor.
Sorry.
We'll, again, everybody, let's wait until they've all finished, and then we can show our proper thank you for everything that they've said. Michael and Nor, thank you.
Well, first, I want to thank everyone so much for coming out. Thank you for TJ, everyone who helped put this event on, because it's been great. And we really appreciate you guys helping us send our message to campus and students here. But first, I want to address that last question, how we're different. And I really think that our experience with SGA has given us a window into so many different aspects of student life throughout our time working with this amazing organization. Being able to work with Senate every week, being on the Student Fee Allocation Committee, working with Airmark on the Dining Advisory Committee. I've talked to a lot of students, I've met with a lot of people, I've heard a lot of stories. And I just want to take all that information and make this student government the student government for every student here at UK. And whether that's more money for multicultural events, whether it's a food bank for food insecure students, we think that our initiatives and our ideas are feasible and that we can see change this year.
Yeah, so just what Michael said, thank you guys for coming out, and thank you for everyone who's hosting this. It's been amazing. I am, if the only minority woman that's ever run for this position. And I think that that's an amazing thing. Everyone should be able to do what I do, what Michael does. And that's exactly that's what we're running on. When I was choosing to come to UK, one of the reasons I came, this is probably really silly, but was because of the catchphrase, see blue, And I was on the website today and I saw something and it said, see inspiration, see belonging. And that's what we want to bring. We want everyone to see that. We want everyone to look through a lens of belonging. We want people to care. And that's what we have to offer. So Wednesday, Thursday, vote for Hamilton Ali. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. Before we leave, Jason has some last words for you.
Hey guys, I want to thank you all for coming out and supporting the candidates. Just a reminder that elections will start Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. and they'll run through Thursday at 6 p.m. Thank you all who submitted questions on Twitter. If your question that you submitted wasn't answered and you would like to ask the candidate, please feel free to ask them between now and through our elections. They'd be happy to help. We only had an hour. We apologize for the delay. We were trying to get everything set up, but we do appreciate you all coming out. I want to thank the candidates for all of your answers and all of your work that you put in throughout this this campaign trail, and also Professor Melvin Coffey, who came through and did our moderating tonight. So thank you all.